Hey everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about resentment, admiration, and attention. I'm going to start off with the story. So last week I was running on one of my morning runs out on the track, and I saw another runner who was doing a similar workout. Didn't know what kind of workout he was doing, but he was moving pretty fast. And so as we're doing our laps, we end up stopping at the same time at the same place on the track. And so I talked to him for a little bit, compliment him on how fast he's going, and I ask if I can join him in one of his sprints so that way I can get some motivation and try to keep up with him. So he allows me to join in with him, and he's a skinny looking white guy. That's important for the future point of the story. So we do a 400 meter jog as we are preparing to do our next sprint. And I get to know him. I ask him what workout he's doing. He's a marathon runner. He's been running for 10 years. His PR is a 2:46. For reference, my PR is a 2:59, so my fitness is definitely not where he's at. And for his workout, he's doing 3,000 meter repeats. I was doing 1,000 meter repeats, and I would take 2 minutes to rest in between each repeat. He's doing 3 times the distance that I was doing, and at a similar, if not faster pace from what I could tell when I was watching him prior to saying what's up to him. So his workout is essentially 3 times harder than mine, and I don't know why I signed up for it and asked to join him, but it was fun. So we finish our 400 meter jog, get into the 3,000 meter repeat. We finish the first 1K, and I feel like I'm about to throw up because at this point I would stop and I would have my 2-minute break, but we keep going, and we're definitely going at a pace that's faster than the pace that I was going at. And he notices me starting to lag behind, and so he starts encouraging me and motivating me to come on and to push it. We get to the 2,000 meter mark. I have no idea how I'm still holding on. It's pretty humid out. I live in New York. I feel all of the humidity just sucking the energy out of me. We get to the 2,500 meter mark, and I'm about 2 or 3 steps behind him. I'm still holding on for dear life. I see that he's breathing fine. His head is up. His posture's good. He is in shape, and we're able to finish the 3,000 meter repeat. I am pretty done, and he's still talking and breathing just fine. And so that was the end of his workout. That was definitely the end of my workout. And we exchange contact and say, I ask him how often he does that workout and what's his next race, and maybe I can join him in future workouts. That way he can teach me to bring my marathon time down so I can be like him. And, we exchange different contacts, and then we leave. And the point of that story, one of the points of that story was that this guy was so much faster than me. And as I watched him running around the track, and then as I ran with him and really viscerally experienced just how inadequate I was compared to him, it made me think, I could have made a bunch of excuses, and I could have really been resentful about that whole experience. I could have said, oh, well, this skinny white guy is of course faster than me because he weighs 60 pounds less than me. Or I could have said, just by judging his physiology, well, he doesn't do any strength training. He's not in the gym. So of course he has all this time to spend only on the track or only running. That's why he's faster than me. But instead of being resentful, I did my best to lean into that admiration that I had for him. And I tried to adopt a mindset of learning and growth and humility, and to view that experience as an opportunity to grow and to become better and to build a relationship with him where potentially maybe he could mentor me, or even we could just become peers where we go and work out once a week, and now I have this opportunity to push myself and be better. And really what I'm trying to focus on in this video is, regardless of the facts of the scenario, you can adopt different patterns of attention. You can adopt different mindsets, and that will shape how you see the world, and it will shape how you experience the world. So the 2 mindsets I'm trying to talk about now are admiration and resentment. Going back to the story, the facts of the circumstance are the same. The thing about a mindset and a pattern of attention is that they don't necessarily come from the facts around you or the facts in the environment. To a very large degree, you choose the attitude that you adopt that shapes your experience. So again, let's review some of the facts. This guy is a skinny guy. He has been running for 10 years. He is definitely already faster than me when it comes to the marathon, probably when it comes to running in general. And at that day, he was definitely faster than me at that workout during that repeat. Now, there are other facts or assumptions, really, that I could make to try to rationalize to myself. I have no idea that he doesn't strength train. I have no idea what other responsibilities he has in his life. But just going off of those facts alone, you could see how I could adopt the mindset of being resentful and saying, well, for example, he weighs less than me. Well, that's why he's faster than me. And if I weighed that much, or if I had his genes, and if I had that physiology that facilitates running, then I too would be as fast as he is. So I could interpret those facts in such a way to make myself look better. Now, I could also interpret those same facts, again, from the perspective of admiration. And I could say, well, he's a human being like I am. He makes his own decisions. He's a responsible agent, an autonomous agent. So am I. So to some degree, maybe not 100%, but to some degree, his outcomes, his fitness outcomes, are a reflection of his decisions, just the way my fitness outcomes are a reflection of my decisions. And so if I wanted to have similar outcomes to him, well, then maybe I can make better decisions or make decisions that are similar to his. But either way, from the same set of facts, observing that he's faster than me, observing that he has a faster marathon time than I do, I can interpret them and say, how can I make myself better? And I can view his more competent athleticism as an indicator of how much room I have to grow and as a potential target for me to try to aim at and to accomplish, rather than viewing it as, oh, he's patronizing me, or it's unfair that he's faster than me. You know, when we're running that 3,000 meter repeat and he's saying, come on, let's go, he's really patronizing me, and he's just trying to prove that he's better than me. Those mindsets are not necessarily a product of the facts around you. It's more so something that you bring to the table as you're trying to understand what's going on around you. And when it comes to personality development, I would make the argument that a large part of what it means to develop your personality optimally is to discover what the optimal mindset is that you should embody across different scenarios and different experiences. Let's talk more about admiration and resentment specifically. I already mentioned how it's not necessarily the facts of the situation that tell you which mindset you should adopt. You can view admiration and resentment as different sides of the same coin. Both of them have to deal with seeing someone that has something that you don't have, or seeing someone that you perceive to be better than you. Both of them deal with the recognition of your own insufficiency and your own weakness. The difference, however, comes in a few forms. One of them is the locus of control. When you admire someone, to a degree, that's very much associated with you thinking that that person got there because of their own volition and of their own will, to a large degree. And then you think, wow, I could do that. And that's the feeling, at least, that I get when I see someone that I admire. I admire them because I want to imitate them, because I believe that I can imitate them, because I believe that they have achieved something that I could achieve if I just put my mind to it. So when you admire someone, the locus of control is within the individual, largely speaking, generally speaking. When it comes to resentment, the locus of control is external. You know, that person got that promotion not because of their own discipline and their own work ethic, but because, you know, our higher boss just likes them more, or due to some circumstance, they got to that job before me. And so it's really not about anything they did. it has everything to do with the nature of the circumstances. So again, that locus of control, when you have a resentful mindset, is external. It's not with the individual. And because that individual got that job or has the money or has the car and the nice house due to something other than their own volition, you start to feel that same way about yourself, where you feel like life is so unfair and I can't do anything. The reason that I am not good is because the world is out to get me. And the reason that people don't appreciate how smart I am or how creative I am or how fit I am is not because of anything that I'm lacking, but because that's just the way the world is set up. The world is so unfair and unjust. And again, these are different patterns of attention, but the thing is, there's enough evidence in the world to support both of those paradigms, to support both of those mindsets. And that's why I'm trying to hone in on the relationship between the pattern of attention that you choose to adopt, which drives your experience in the world, and your desire to develop your personality, to try to become better and become more adaptive and to try to learn. It's because it's a choice that you make, which mindset you want to don. It's not something that comes from the world and imposes itself on you. The story that you choose to adopt, which is the same thing as the lens through which you view the world, is something that you have to come to the conclusion on by yourself. Okay. We talked about admiration. We talked about resentment. We talked about how in many situations when you're encountering someone who has something that you want, or when you encounter someone who's doing something better than you, you have a choice. You can either be resentful, and that means that you blame everyone else. You don't give that person their flowers by acknowledging how hard they worked. So you have an external locus of control. Or you can be admirable. You can be admirable by demonstrating your admiration for that person, and that comes with an internal locus of control, a belief that you as an individual have some power over your life, and therefore you believe that other people also have power over their lives. And it also comes with a trait of humility to think that it's okay that someone has something more than you, or it's okay that someone is better than you. And I would also say that admiration has a mindset of, it's associated with hope. It's associated with hope, because when you see someone who is doing something better than you, to the degree that you admire them and you want to imitate them, you are presupposing the possibility that you can manifest that potential and one day get to where they are at. And that's hopeful, and that can fill you with enthusiasm, and that's positive. So I want to end with a reflection of a story another story. I recently finished Notes from Underground by Fyodor Dostoyevsky, and I'm trying to get into his novels, and so far I'm very pleased. But Notes from Underground is a short story about a man who is highly intellectual, but he's also highly resentful. Because of his intellect, he believes that he is smarter than everyone else. He believes that he has the correct worldview, and anyone who doesn't share in his worldview is in error, and it's also his job to point that out to them that they are incorrect. Let me adjust this camera real quick. It looks like it's a little off. Okay. And the story is a compilation of different memories where he is sharing with the audience and confessing to the audience how he's such a weak, resentful, cynical individual who just hates the world. And there's this one story that he shares where he talks about how, because of his intellect, he's just always thinking all of the time. He's always thinking, and he's rarely acting. And again, because he doesn't like other people and he doesn't like other people's worldview, he's also very isolated and he's very lonely. So often throughout the night and when he's alone outside of work, he would read, but that would only suffice so much to entertain him. So then he would become bored and he would give in to certain vices and he would get trapped in his head. And one night, he went out to a bar to just imagine himself getting into different bar fights, just so something interesting could happen, so that way he wasn't stuck in his head. And he talks about how he would fantasize about committing and acting and getting in other people's faces and getting into bar fights to prove to himself that he's not just someone who thinks a lot, but he's also someone who could take action. He never does it. He never gets into a bar fight. And so he leaves the bar, and as he's leaving, he collides with an officer, a man of a higher social status. And the officer bumps into him and just keeps walking past him. And the man is sitting there feeling embarrassed. He feels like the officer disrespected him because he felt like an insect compared to the officer who didn't even acknowledge the man or say excuse me or apologize to him. And to condense the story, the man broods on this altercation for months and I believe years. He feels that the officer, the man of higher social status, the man who was someone of action, who didn't give so much thought to these things, he believed that he was higher than him and he believed that he was better than him. And he let this specific resentment become a manifestation of his general resentment to the world, where he lost sleep over it. He stalked the officer trying to figure out information about him, like who is this guy? And he eventually writes a short story about the man and about the officer. And the man tries to publish the short story, but he can't get it published because he was going to try to humiliate the officer and condemn his actions, but he couldn't get it published. And so that's just more evidence to justify the underground man's resentment about the world. And so the underground man thinks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to contrive another scenario where I can bump into this man. And this time I'm not going to move out of the way, and I'm going to, bump him as hard as he bumps me to prove that we are social equals. He thinks up this scenario, but it takes him months to actually enact the plan because he thinks he needs to buy clothes to really elevate his social status because he wants everything to be perfect when he finally collides with this officer. And so he doesn't have money, and so he goes out to get a loan, and just a whole but many, many things that most people would find to be absurd. But the point is that this man broods on this interaction, on this feeling of inadequacy for, like I said, months or perhaps years, and it consumes him. And that's what it's like to be possessed by resentment. That's what it's like to have the mindset of the world is out to get me. Everyone is weaker and more stupid than I am, and it's up to me to prove to them that they're incorrect, and it's up to me to right the injustices of the world. And that story to me just correctly personified and characterized what it's like to adopt what I believe is a suboptimal mindset when it comes to trying to maintain a healthy psyche and to develop a personality that's well integrated and adaptive. So I'm gonna end the video there. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.